What's up, Nicholas? Good to
How are
see you
you?
again.
You're beautiful,
Oh, stop.
as usual. Nice runner. So I hear that you are a very good runner.
Used to be.
Now you finished first this year
Yeah.
for
Good.
your category of age, I guess.
Oh, yes. But that's a small race, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start with Allan possesses the company REGENX, and you have produced this product, LVR Regen,
Yeah.
liver regen, I
You
guess.
can say liver regen or liver region.
Yep.
The idea that it's very supportive for liver and gallbladder.
Yes.
So many people today have congested liver gallbladder systems where the bile is, of course, made in the liver.
Let me think. Probably 95%.
I would say 95%, maybe 100. Yeah.
Why?
The biggest reason today, I believe, is the toxins in the food today and the lack of minerals out there. So what we're seeing a lot of today is, can you see it okay there?
Yeah.
Is that people are not just processing themselves. So if we went back to like 1950, if we were born in 1950, there was not just word as conventional. Everything was organic in 1950. There was almost no sprays yet. After World War II, all the big companies started creating a lot of chemical sprays, modernization of farming. The horses went away, out come the tractors, and we used to use cultivators.
Mm-hmm.
Go through the fields, take the weeds out. And then by the late 70s, the cultivators went to the fence row, and out came the sprayers.
Mm.
So we started with atrazines, and then we went into Roundup Ready and all these other different companies making chemicals that can spray directly onto the plant,
Yes.
or pre-emergence, post-emergence. So the problem becomes is that Nicholas is not doing Nicholas anymore. He's doing himself plus all the environmental toxins. We made 70 or 80,000 chemicals since 1950. A lot of them look like hormones in the body. When they come in, the liver is the organ that deals with all of that stuff. The liver is responsible for making sure that all these different chemicals that we expose to in our soaps, in our perfumes, in our shampoos, and in our foods, and plastics in our bottles, and all the sprays in the food, the liver is the #1 organ responsible for removing that toxin,
Yeah.
or making the toxin water soluble so
Yep.
the kidney can filter it.
Yes.
Now here's a question for everybody. If you had a bad liver,
Yeah.
Nicholas was a bad boy, and he had a bad liver, and he went in and I matched his liver, and I decided to give part of my liver to him.
Yes.
I give half my liver to Nicholas.
Yes.
How long would it take for my liver to regrow, if it would regrow at all? Any idea?
It would not be that long. I would say 3 months.
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah. I saw Dr. Peter Attia talking about this one time. He's a medical doctor, but he talked about how when they would do a liver transplant or partial donation of a liver, that your body would suck every muscle off of it. Everything your body would give, they actually put them on an IV because they couldn't keep enough nutrients in the body, because that liver would literally regrow itself in 3 weeks. Now, the kidneys, as I know, they don't regrow.
Yeah.
I can't have half of my heart, Nicholas. You might break my heart, but you can't have half my heart.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, my little John Mayer, you.
So the point being is the liver is an organ that can constantly regenerate itself.
Absolutely.
Kidneys, when you see kidneys fail, that's a bad situation, right?
Mhm.
So the kidneys are going to be the filter. So this product is put together to help phase 1 and phase 2, helps thin the bile back out again. It's being made in the liver because bile is made in the liver, transported to the bladder, the gallbladder, and when you eat a meal with fats in it, what does it do? The gallbladder squeezes. You can dump up to 8 ounces at one time into your small intestine to break up the fats and digest them. So a lot of people who have fatty liver disease or have a lot of congestion in their gallbladder, especially mamas having babies, right?
Yeah. Yes.
The most common time to lose your gallbladder, do you know when for a female?
You just tell it when she's pregnant.
Right after the baby's born. When she's pregnant, she has the baby because the baby takes a lot of choline for the brain to make acetylcholine receptors. So choline is really important in the liver system to make bile. So a lot of women get congested bile, real thick, sludgy bile, and they start making stones. So a month after having a baby, they're going to go have a nice meal with their husband, and take the baby along, and they have this fatty meal, and it challenges the gallbladder, and they're into the ER, gallbladder attack, and they'll yank that gallbladder out the next morning. And then quite often they'll have diarrhea the rest of their life because they can't digest fats.
Yes.
that make sense?
Absolutely.
That's the most common time to lose a gallbladder.
And I think it's very important that we go through the list of the nutrients in that product. The first one that I see is...
Well, I can't see that. I need glasses for that.
No,
You're going to have to help me out.
I'm there. Chloroxodeoxylic acids.
So that's
TUDCA.
TUDCA.
Yeah.
So TUDCA is basically the building block for bile.
Yes.
So that's giving them... So this product was developed for people who have congested gallbladder or for somebody who has no gallbladder. If you have no gallbladder, you have no place to store bile.
Yes. Yeah, a little bit in your liver.
A little bit, and so, but you're always constantly dripping into the small intestine. You don't have that big push of bile.
Yes.
So the problem becomes is they never have a big bolus or a big push of bile to digest the fats.
The big
They
meal.
need to develop a dry liver after 6 or 8 months because they're always. I always talk about like on a dairy farm when I grew up. We had a cow tank outside with water, and we had a float. And when the cow tank was full of water, the float would shut off, and no more water. The cows would come up in the pasture, and they would want to drink the water, and the float would open up. If they take your gallbladder out, there's no float there. Your body never sees a signal from your gallbladder saying, hey, we're full, stop making bile. So you're constantly making bile, 24/7, 365, and guess what happens? It actually is really hard to grab it all back from because we do recycle our bile.
Yes.
We don't want to. We want to have a fiber there, so the bile, because if it's a fat-soluble toxin, the bile will grab onto. Okay, Nicholas is a toxin.
No, I want to stay in that body.
And so we want the
toxic
bile
body.
and we want the fiber to carry it out. So that's why when you eat a lot of fiber, you have to see cholesterol drop because cholesterol is the base molecule to make
cells.
Bile.
To make bile, but to make any cells, in fact.
So that's where the TUDCA's in there. Yep.
Okay, after that we have broccoli sprout extract.
Yep. That's the sulforaphanes.
Yeah.
It just upregulates the liver in phase 1.
Phase 1?
2. Yep.
Yes. Phase 2 also?
I'll have to look it up again. But it was mostly phase 1. But there's a lot of things going on. It has to be broccoli
I think it's
sprout
both.
extract. Yeah.
I think it's both phase.
Yeah.
Moringa.
Another source
Yeah.
of sulforaphanes.
Oh, you have been able to put some humic acid.
So as we know, humics and fulvics.
The goal of that is to bring some humidity to the product?
To humidity? No. Binding capacity. So again, humics and fulvics are used, that's the breakdown of the organic matter in the soil.
Yes.
But they're very powerful. They're a great way to grab toxins and keep moving them through the body.
Leucine, transporter?
Leucine, when you take leucine next to anything else, it seems to upregulate the ability of the vitamin or mineral it's being used with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mustard seed powder.
Another, so there's an enzyme that helps the sulforaphanes activate, and moringa has part of it, and mustard seed has part of that too. So that's why it's in there.
Some taurine.
Taurine. So same idea, the TUDCA
Yes.
is taurine based, so it's another building block for liver gallbladder system.
Absolutely. Taurine is a very important amino acid to produce bile.
Yep.
Like tauroxo. The tauroxo
Yeah.
comes from taurine.
Yeah, it's taurine. Yep.
Coenzyme Q10.
So again, liver is, so of organs that use energy, brain is first, heart is second, liver, kidney, close third. Okay. So we put a little bit of CoQ10 in to help the liver itself out. So that was the whole idea of having CoQ10 in there.
PQQ.
Ha, one of my favorites.
Yes. Really?
Yeah, pyroquinone quinone.
Yes.
So if you look at the quinones, CoQ10 is coenzyme quinone 10.
Say that again.
CoQ10,
Yes.
the Q stands for quinone.
Okay.
Yeah. So K2 is a menaquinone, MK7, menaquinone. So quinones do an amazing job of helping make energy in the body.
Okay.
But PQQ itself stimulates new mitochondrial function. So when you have a congested liver, a tired liver, the whole idea is to give liver a little bit of support there. So I want to help regenerate liver. So that's why the CoQ and the PQQ are in there.
But if you say that the brain is the priority number 1, the heart is the priority number 2, and the liver is priority number 3, and with the kidneys,
Yeah.
maybe it's gonna go somewhere else. The PQQ could go to the brain.
When I tell people this, when you take a supplement,
Yeah.
you put it in your mouth, it hits the stomach, body breaks it apart, hits the small intestine, and we absorb it through the small intestine, and now it's in the bloodstream.
Yes.
Now the body has control and decides where it goes.
Yes.
So you're absolutely right.
Okay.
Sometimes the brain might be a priority.
Yes.
And so when we do topical stuff, like we talked about the cream last time,
Yes.
when I put it on your shoulder, it's going to be primarily used here.
Yes.
Now, if I want to put something in the shoulder and you ingest it and you absorb it and it's in the bloodstream, your body decides what the priority is.
Absolutely.
So that's why sometimes it's good to do something transdermally, and sometimes it's good to do stuff orally.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's going to benefit. But the biggest users of energy are brain, heart, and liver. So it will probably work in all three of those organs.
Big question right there.
Yeah.
Can you absorb PQQ through skin?
That I don't know.
Okay, that would be very interesting.
So fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin K,
Yeah.
yes. E, yes. D, yes. So pyrrolidine, quinone, I'll have to look that one up. But when you use products with DMSO,
Yes.
when you do it on the skin, DMSO has the amazing, they call it a Trojan horse. What does that mean?
Oh, yeah.
The whole idea of the Trojan horse is it can put things inside of it that you can't see, but it greatly accelerates and increases the actual moving of whatever is in that cream or that product or whatever, the spray on the surface. It'll drive it into the tissue.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a good chance it would. I'd have to look up the molecule.
I think we have a good idea right there.
Yeah.
All right. We already talked about that cream in the past. Go see the other video where he's describing everything that is put in it and why it's in it. And you're going to arrive with a new version of it, huh?
So coming in February, we'll actually have it in 100 ml tubes. So it's plain friendly, workout bag friendly. So it'll be in a 100 ml tube, so you can get on a plane, check it. No one's going to take it from you. Anything over 100 mLs, according to the rules today, toothpaste or otherwise, will be taken. So that's going to be in a 100 ml tube, and that's our final version of it. And we'll always work on modifying it or making it better. But yeah, we're releasing them in tubes.
Before going to those products, how many capsules a day is the regular consumption?
So I would say anywhere from 1 to 4 a day. If someone wants to help digestion, I say take it before the meal.
Yes.
Or you can take it an hour after the meal. Okay?
Yes.
Depending on what you're trying to do with it. I tell people liver time on the Chinese clock is between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m.
Yes.
Gallbladder time is 11 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Yes.
So if you're trying to help liver gallbladder out, you can do one at bedtime.
Yes.
It's going to be doing more repair and helping out. But when you take it with a meal, it's going to be more just actually. So someone's missing a gallbladder, they have congestion of the gallbladder.
Yes.
It's a great thing to take with the meal to have a little bit more actual bile there. Or the
Yes.
building blocks for bile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're taking with a meal, it's going to help to digest that meal.
Yep.
And when you're taking it on an empty stomach before sleeping, it's going to be really to, you say, repair?
I would say support liver gallbladder for regeneration.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Is it possible that if I take too much, I can feel it in my kidneys?
Evidently, yes.
Yeah, because I was taking the product and I was like,
Yeah.
I can feel there's something wrong, or maybe something good, but it was working a lot in my kidney. I was like, it's like I was feeling kidney stones leaving.
Nicholas is one of these guys where if you tell him to take one, he'll take 4.
Yes.
So don't do that. Take one.
Oh,
Start with one,
okay.
and then build up. Because when you start detoxifying the body or moving toxins, you're going to feel your weak link.
Yes.
And so this was not. I could have put kidney support in here too, but we really were focusing on liver. So if I speed up liver,
Yep.
I may have to help speed up kidney too, because once that liver activates that into a water-soluble toxin, you want the kidney to accept that.
Yes. We're gonna finish with those 3 products, but normally there's 5 formula.
So we have 1 through 5, and doesn't mean you have to take them in that order. This was the first product developed to help support people with Lyme disease. I'm from Wisconsin. We see lots of Lyme there. Chronic Lyme, hidden Lyme. The medical system will tell you it does not exist because they can't find a blood test. Blood tests won't find it. Why? It's left the bloodstream and gotten into the joints, got in the upper part of the brain, and there it sits, and it makes terrible toxins, and it basically melts a person's brain and melts a person's joints.
Yes.
So this was our first attempt with the herbs, and again, we talked about before, we don't use single herbs.
Yes.
And I got a lot of criticism from the herbal community early on because I was using 5, 10, 12, 15, 20 herbs. I was muscle testing. I'm a muscle tester. And we found that if an herb seemed to help the detox pathway, seemed to help out the liver, help out the kidney, or was good at helping remove pathogens, we wanted to put them together. And that's what we did. And so there's always a primary driver for the pathogen part. There's always a primary activator in the body. So just so everyone remembers the basics here, we made it out of 6 things.
Yes.
Vitamins, minerals, fats, carb, protein, water. That's it. But herbs are actually medicine in a sense, right? They've been used for thousands of years. And
yes.
If you want to involve God here, it was the original medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of herbs, they've taken one constituent out of that herb, made it synthetically in the lab, and now it's a drug.
Yes.
So the nice thing about herbs is they're much safer. If I think about using an herb, doxycycline, let's use an antibiotic. That has one vector of killing. It's like drawing back on a target with an arrow, and when you shoot one arrow at the target. When you have an herb, some herbs have 20 different constituents. And so you take 20 times 20, that's like drawing back 400 arrows at my target. It's
yes.
very hard for the bugs to move around that.
Yes.
So the only claim of fame we can make to any of this stuff is that it's supportive.
Yes.
I am not saying that it's going to kill or remove or cure. I can't say those things. I can simply say supports.
Yes.
Do your own research. Look up these herbs, see what they do. But I can tell you there is a real synergistic thing when you actually take herbs and you put them together. Amazing things happen.
Absolutely.
They're much more powerful together than they are single herbs.
Excellent. And do you have a lot of good testimony with your product?
Yeah, I should have brought a letter and read it. I had a gal come in. I have a blueberry patch. And last summer, some older patients, I hadn't seen them for several years. They come, they go. You know how patients are. And the husband, he approached me. He said, "Hey, my wife's in a bad way, and you think you could help her?" And she was, when I saw her, she was just shaking. Her head was shaking in her hands, and she had such anxiety. She hadn't driven a car in 4 years. She came in, and we found Lyme on her, which is common, but she had a real strong mold.
Okay.
So they were dairy farmers.
Yes.
Now I grew up on a dairy farm. There's mold everywhere on a dairy farm. There's mold in the feed room. There's mold in the stanchion. There's mold in the barn. There's mold. So they had just stopped farming a year or two ago, but she ingested mold, or I should say she inhaled mold, and it gets into the sinus up into the brain. So when you combine mold toxins, mycotoxins with Lyme, it's absolute game over for people. And so that's what was going on with her. So we simply helped her with the Lyme, and we used some humic fulvic-based products to help with the mold. Mm-hmm. And I saw her for about 4 months. And the day before, we used, I think we used a combination of 1, 3, and 5 on her. And then there's a couple of humic fulvic products that we'd like to use. I don't have in my line right now. But that combination in about 4 months, from July to October, changed her life. And I got one of the nicest letters I've ever received from anybody. And she said, "You gave me my life back. My headaches are gone." She couldn't see. She's not driven a car in 4 years. 4 years. Because she couldn't focus her eyes. And when she got behind the wheel, she had such bad PTSD. She'd have panic attacks. She said, "I drove for the first time in 4 years last month." So what you end up doing a lot of times, Nicholas, when you're applying nutrition to a person, you give them their life back. Because a lot of people say, "Why don't you run anymore? It hurts too much. Why don't you, I know, I don't have the energy for that anymore." So people always draw back from the life when their body's not working anymore.
Yeah.
And the most common thing is pain and energy.
Yes.
In my practice, that's why I develop these products, is because people come in and they say, "I hurt, I can't think, I wake up tired." Then always back up and say, is there a pathogen there? Is there a toxin there? What's causing the problem? If you can work from that. And you don't have to go crazy protocols. It's just 1 or 2 things at a time, 3 things at a time, and you will move the needle to the right direction, and these people will get well. Mm-hmm. The majority of the time they'll get well.
Would you say that that's why you do what you do?
I do what I do because my dad was killed 25 years ago on the farm, right where I practiced there. He was on 9 medications, and every time he'd go in and complain to the doctor that he wasn't feeling good, they would write another prescription and hand it to him. And I watched my dad. I'm 56 in a few weeks. He was 57. I watched him for 5 years slowly lose his health to the point where he couldn't fix his equipment. He couldn't work even a half a day anymore. And they were at the point where they were going to sell the dairy farm because they couldn't do it anymore. But before he did that, he was killed in the farm accident. And I was angry because I thought, here's my dad, all these hospitals around, all this medication, nothing helped him. And he died at 57, which I think is a young death, when I'm 56 with little kids at home. And so I was actually an engineer. So I actually went to school, took all this organic chemistry and got all my prerequisites done, and I went through school and graduated and moved back to Wisconsin. I've been back for almost 20 years now. That's why I do what I do.
Would you say that when you were doing your study, your chemistry and all that, you were mad when you were studying? You were studying like a madman. Like, I'm going to change everything. I'm going to change that world.
Well, when you lose somebody close to you, that's a pretty big motivator, right?
Absolutely.
So anytime you have trauma like that, it was a big trauma to me because I'd never lost a close family member before losing my dad. Mm-hmm. So that was a great motivator to me. But little did I know that I would come home and take all of our dairy farm down and put a clinic there and literally work within 100 feet of where he passed away and see dairy farmers and construction workers and business people come in and moms and little kids and older people. And if you do the basics, make energy,
yes,
detoxify the body,
yes,
find the hidden pathogens, you will get 80 or 90% of people quickly well.
Yes.
Always do the basics first. Mm-hmm. You can go down all kinds of rabbit holes and you might find a rabbit. Yeah. But you're not going to do what you want to do for that patient. I always tell people, do the basics the best. And if you can do the basics, their body knows what to do.
And would you say that the primary, you're talking about the basic, to me there's only 2 basic, detox and produce energy.
Right, and they go hand in hand because if you're not detoxifying yourself, you're poisoning the mitochondria.
Yeah.
But the mitochondria have specific nutrients they need.
Yes.
Right? They make their own water. We make gallons of water in our cells every day, but we have to have the B vitamins, B1, B2, B3, big ones for the mitochondria. Magnesium, 13 of the 21 steps or half the steps are magnesium related. But the very end of the pathway, yes, the very end where we actually use oxygen and hydrogen and copper, that's where we make water. Now, if you're low in copper in the mitochondria, you will never make enough energy to detoxify the liver or to feel rested the next day. You're always tired or behind, I call it behind the 8 ball. And you can ask your patients or ask your clients, hey, how do you wake up in the morning? Oh, I can't find the coffee pot fast enough. You know, if they're not waking up charged up, look for the toxin. Or a deficiency. When the food's deficient, humans are deficient. So yes, if you can't detoxify, eventually the mitochondria and the energy go down.
Yes. I think we should stop there. 24 minutes of video, it's perfect.
All right.
It was an amazing interview.
All right. Good to see you.
Amazing. Amazing.